Hey everybody, Kayleigh with Kayleigh's Canvases here. I am going to do a live video to show you guys what I'm painting. I painted this the other day and I told you guys I wanted to put some words on it, and everybody seemed to vote for it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So what I did was I pre-sketched the words, and I wanted to just, talk to you for a minute while I put these words on, and maybe show you how to paint a little tiny baby palm tree on here. So if you guys ever want to paint on your own, paint a palm tree, I'll kind of show you how to do it. It's pretty easy. So we'll do the words first. All right, but whenever you're doing wording, it's always easier to write them on with pencil, so that way if you don't like something, you can kind of erase it. But for this, I'm just going to do some black lettering, and I brought my hair dryer so that way I can dry it myself, so I can put some highlights on the words. So if you're seeing this video, feel free to stop and take a watch, and also maybe just throw in a comment saying, hey, this is such and such, and I didn't want to see you write it's 5 o'clock somewhere, or I did want to see you write it's 5 o'clock somewhere. I personally wanted to write Home Sweet Paradise, because I would eventually love to move to someplace nice and tropic and warm. Alright, but for this lettering, I'm not using any type of stenciling, because I'm just looking to do something kind of freehand, make it look kind of free and flowy. But if you're coming on, feel free to stop and say hi. I've got my camera above my head, so I can't really see who's on. I might take a gander every now and again. All right, but really when you're doing this, you want to have kind of a thin paint. You don't want anything too thick. And we're just trying to just paint some lettering here. Just some quick and easy flowing lettering. If your paint is too thick, the best way to thin it down is just to add a little bit of water and kind of mix it together with your paintbrush. All right, and you can just kind of fool around with your lettering however you want, because again, we just wanted something kind of free. All right, and I'll make it quick. It won't take too long, because at the very end I want to show you guys how to paint that palm tree on here. It was a last minute decision to go live. I knew I needed to get a live on here for you guys, but sometimes my schedule is kind of tight, so I never know when I can do it. My daughter had softball practice today. She did pretty good. It was her first one. So anybody who's a parent probably understands the scheduling issues. All right. And if you're ever doing stenciling, like where you want to, have a specific kind of font, it's always best to use a very small fine liner brush, so that way you can really make sure you stay inside your stencil lines. But that's not what I'm doing. So just painting free flow here. And as I'm going along, I can always change the size of the lettering if I want. All right. And when you're doing any kind of thing where you want really smooth lines, sometimes it's kind of hard to do, but you want to move kind of quickly, because if you move in like short strokes, you'll get kind of choppy, you'll get some choppiness like I kind of got at the top of this. But when you want some quick smooth lines, you just want to go really kind of quickly. And if ever you're painting something and you don't like the way it came out, you can always take a baby wipe to it to wash it off. So you'll notice that once I get my base, I'll just kind of go kind of quickly like that, so I get a nice smooth line. Okay. And parts of this lettering I want to be thicker than other parts, so when I'm going down, I'm kind of, I start off on the top applying light pressure, and then I want it to be thicker at the bottom, so I apply a little bit more pressure once I get down to the bottom. So that way it looks like it's a little bit thicker at the bottom, but again, like I said, all I had to do was, as I'm going down, I just slightly apply some more pressure. All right, and the thing I love about acrylic paint is it dries so quickly. So it's nice when you're painting and you want to paint layers and you don't want to stop and go. Acrylic paint is really great for that. For this background, and I might show you, I have quite a few surfboards and I've gotten some requests for custom surfboards. So I'm probably gonna do a couple custom surfboards on here with you, and I'll show you guys how I do the background, because the background is really, really pretty and I love the background. It just makes me happy. All right, so I'm just going through kind of flowy, trying to make it nice and smooth and kind of free-spirited, because it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Not here yet, it's only 4 o'clock here in New York. But I'm also going to be putting this video on YouTube, so if you're watching this on YouTube, I would love it if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I'm going to try to be more consistent about getting Facebook Lives and videos uploaded to YouTube, so that way you guys can paint with me. If you're wanting to do something like this and I'm ever painting, you guys can feel free, if you don't have time to sit and watch it right then and there, share the video to your own personal page, so that way you don't miss out and you can always go back to it whenever you have time. I've had friends do that because they want to paint along, but they might have been busy. So they save it to their personal page and they come back later. And also, if you paint, I would love to see your finished painting, which obviously you can, either share your personal paintings in the comments, even if you're working on something different. Like I had friends who painted, different things, and they'll share it with me. They'll send it to me on Messenger, or they'll share it in the comments. I love to see what people are painting. I love to give some tips or advice, even though I might not be the best painter or artist in the world, but I definitely know some little tips and tricks. And the more you do it, if you ever want to get better at painting or drawing, the more you do it, the better you get. All right, we're getting close to being done with this lettering. And then I'll draw a little palm tree off on the side, and I will show you how to do that, because the palm tree is definitely fun. Right now I'm using a lot of paint on my brush, and that is because I want to make sure that I can make some thick lines. All right, I don't want thin lines, and I don't want it to look like it's not flowing well, so that's why I'm using a lot of paint. Normally I don't do that. So I want it to be smooth, I want it to flow well, and I want it to be kind of thick. Sometimes if your lettering is too thin, you might not have, if your lettering is too thin, it might not be bold enough, and people might not be able to read it from a far distance. It depends on, what somebody might be doing with this. If they're going to hang it up near their pool in a little pool house or whatever, or near a bar, maybe they have a bar in their home they want to hang this at, you definitely want people to be able to see it from a distance. So, and I would love to know, where would you hang this in your home if it was yours, if you had it? Share with me where you would hang this in your home. For me, I don't have a bar, But I might hang this. I don't have an art studio either. I kind of just paint in my kitchen table. But let's see, someday I would love to obviously have it in my art studio. But I would probably just hang this in my bedroom, so that way every day when I wake up I could see a beautiful sunset and some palm trees. Yeah. But one of these days, guys, I'm going to get an art studio. And right now, all my stuff is like literally strewn all through the house. I have a very patient husband, and he is very kind about that, because I have an art table in my dining room, an art table in my living room, an art table in my kitchen, and I have an art table out on my porch, my back porch, because as you guys know, I sell kits, paint kits, and so I just don't have enough space for all this stuff. Boxes take up a lot of space. Canvases take up a lot of space. And I have to have an inventory because I sell a ton of paint kits. So that's why it's everywhere. One of these days, maybe I'll take you through the house and show you all my tables and stuff, just so you can see. But if you had this surfboard, where would you put it? Or maybe if you don't like it's 5 o'clock somewhere, what would you put on it instead? Feel free to share those ideas. It's a beautiful day out, and we've been outside most of the day. I actually went fishing this morning, so that was pretty cool. So before I go on, guys, I'm going to show you how to do just a small little palm tree. I wasn't really going to do something, but I think I might just do a really small one, because I got a pretty big one here, small one here. I might do just another small one just to show you. I'm not sure if I want to do it here or here. I might do it over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start with like a thin little line. All right, and I'm just going to take it down. All right, it does not have to be anything perfect. All right, literally just a thin line like this. And we will give it that dimension of a palm tree. All right, so we're just going to make just like little triangles all connecting as we go down. And as you go down, you want them to get a little bit bigger too. All right, so just make them a little bit bigger connecting. All right, and they're also, I don't know if you've ever seen a palm tree in person. Some of you guys that have never been south might not have ever seen a palm tree. They actually have a little bit of texture to them, and they kind of peel just a little bit. So it's okay if it's not perfectly smooth. Like you'll see over here, there's just some little jagged edges, because sometimes they get the little bark that peels off, just like any tree. So we're just going to keep going down. I was going to do it over here, but I thought it might be too busy over there. So we got it over here. We can always add another one if we wanted to, but for time's sake, I might just leave it on these ones on this side. All right, so we've got that. All right, now what you want to do, I don't know if you've ever seen at the top of a palm tree, you kind of have like this rough, jagged bark that kind of goes in a sideways direction. So we're going to do that, and literally by doing that, we're just going to go like this. All right, and it does not have to be anything perfect. Literally, it just looks like a whole bunch of scribblies. All right, and we want it to kind of be in proportion to the tree. Like you'll see this one is a little bit bigger than this because it's got a bigger tree. All right, and then for the palms, this is where you want to have like a little bit thinner paint on your brush. So you might want to water down your brush a little bit. All right, and I'm literally just using a fine liner brush, black paint. So I'm just going to take it, and I'm just going to kind of make just some little, almost like little mountain lines. So I'm going, like they kind of look like the shape of a mountain with a little curved top. All right, or a bird's wing, whatever you want to call it. All right. We don't want to do too many because I don't want to block the letters. That's why I did kind of a smaller tree. I can, you know, bring them down a little bit. I can really make this however I want to. I can make it look like it's blowing in the wind. If I want to make it look like it's blowing in the wind, I make the palms go a little bit more off to the side. So I get these general shapes in here. All right, and for the palms, so this is like the stem of the palm. I'm not gonna start at the very end of the palm. All right, I'm gonna start a little bit higher up. All right, and I'm just gonna kind of do the same thing. I'm just gonna drag, you know, a thin amount, and I'm applying very little pressure, because I want it to look light. I don't want my palms to be too thick. All right, just very little pressure. Okay, and I can make these as thick or as thin as I want to, because I don't know if you guys have been down south, but when I've been down south, I've noticed there's like tons of different kinds of palm trees. And I suppose that's kind of like pine trees or any kind of tree up north. You know, there's just tons of different, you know, different kinds of trees. All right, so I'm going to, this one's going to be super close to the other palm, so I got to be careful how much I go down with it. It's okay if it overlaps my lettering a little bit, because we'll still be able to make out the general shape, especially when we add the highlighting to it. All right, and then I'm just going to do the next couple and just go down with it, and maybe even add just a small little one in the back here. All right, and just adding wherever I feel comfortable. Again, very little pressure. All right, you guys can see now I got another general shape of a palm tree. All right, and I don't know if I want to add any highlighting to it. Don't mind my arm, guys. I don't know if I want to add any highlighting to the palm tree yet. Let's add some highlighting to the words first, and then we'll see if we want to add anything to the tree. All right, so for the highlighting of the words, I got a little something on here. For the highlighting of the words, we're just going to use some white. Sorry if I shook the table a little bit. We don't need to go crazy with it, just enough to accent it. I got to get some white on my plate. I'm using just a paper plate, guys, for my lettering, okay? I reuse paper plates, so you guys will see like I got old paint on here. I always reuse my paper plates, because why throw them away when you can still use them? Paint's dry. All right, so I'm just going to, and you want to make sure that your paint is dry, all right, or else you're going to end up with some muddied paint. So I'm just going to use my blow dryer real quick. Don't mind me. It's just going to be real quick because it was almost dry anyways. I just don't want to end up with dirty gray lines. And I was thinking I could either do white highlights or I could do the same color highlights as here. That might make it pop too. But I've already got white on my brush, so I might just do that. Actually, you know what? I could do both. I could really do it however. You could do this however you want to. Alright, so that's dry. I've got a very small amount of white on here. We don't need a lot. Alright, just be careful of your hand in case anything is still wet. Alright, so I'm just adding very small, thin highlights, again with barely any pressure, okay? Barely any pressure. Right, and it does not have to be perfect. This is just to give it contrast and highlights. It makes it stand out a little bit more. All right, so just for highlights and contrast. And you want to kind of stay in the same direction with things. Like if you're putting most of your highlights on one side, like most of my highlighting is on the left side and the top of my letters. You want to keep that in mind. I'm not like doing a little bit on the top, a little bit on the right, a little bit on the left. I'm trying to stay with the same flow because it makes it more consistent and just look a little bit better. All right, and if your paint is too thick or too dry, you know, it's okay to water it down a little bit. All right, and you'll notice as you're doing this, you might not always like the way it comes out. You might have to, again, use a baby wipe if you don't like it, or just wait until the end and see how it comes out. You can always paint over. That's the wonderful thing about painting. All right, but like this kind of looks a little weird to me, but as I'm going along, it's not looking as bad. Like when I first was doing the eye and the team, like I don't know how this is gonna come out. But we're just kind of going with the flow. I think it'll look just fine. And again, quick, smooth motions. Oops, I messed up a little there. Let me grab a wipe, guys. What did I do with my wipes? Reagan, do you know what I did with my wipes, babe?
No.
What did I do with my wipes?
They might be over there. Like, no, on the shelves.
No, I don't see it. I should have had my wipes ready. I don't know where they are. Really, this? Oh, hang on. Found them. Alright, so you guys will see. Sorry, guys, to do that. You guys will see. So I got a little bit of black down here because it was still wet. I got it on my hand. But I have just a regular baby wipe. And I'm just going to very carefully kind of take it around my finger and wrap it so I don't rub off anything else. Alright. And you can just literally wipe it off. The black might be a little harder than other colors because it's black. But you can see that the baby wipe fixed it. So that was just a little, I did that on purpose, guys. At least I'm going to tell you that. All right. Sorry for that little blunder. It was a good lesson though. To make sure that your paint is dry and don't do what I did. So always follow my advice. I thought it was dry in all fairness. It wasn't. All right, so again, we're staying with the top part and kind of going down below. That part's still a little wet, so it might be a little gray if I go too hard. But again, we're applying very little pressure. Right, if you are watching this on YouTube, I'm super excited that you're watching this. I'm very new to YouTube, so I'd love it if you like this picture or like this video and subscribe to my channel. I don't know if you guys heard, my cat just jumped up on the table. Alright, so we're just getting some highlights on here. It's not going to be too much longer. My daughter Regan, she grabbed the cat. She's usually my helper when we paint, and a lot of times she'll paint along with me, but she didn't feel like painting today because she's tired. She had dance class and softball. That's a lot. Right, Regan? You tired?
Mm-hmm. Sort of.
Sort of. She won't be tired. Once her brother gets back, she'll be wanting to play outside with him. Okay. So we're almost done with this, guys. Okay, let's see. A little bit more. Alright. Just gently. And we're gonna do, you wanna do, like, if you did any curves or anything, you kind of want to go along with the curve up at the top. But we don't want to completely erase the black. We want to just make sure we're kind of accenting the black. Alright. And some of my streaks are getting a little bit thin, so if that happens, you want to make sure you just, you know, you maybe add a little bit of water so your paint doesn't dry out. So it looked like my paint was getting a little too dry. That does happen sometimes. You know, your paintbrush is supposed to be slightly damp when you paint. Not soaking wet, not dry. Depends on what kind of painting you're painting with and what kind of what kind of look you're going for. Okay. Let's see. I had it a little thin there. Getting close to being done. All right, remember we're just highlighting this. And you want to stay along the edges. I've kind of violated my rules a little bit. I think I'm trying to go too quickly. All right. I think I should focus a little bit more than I'm talking. Let's see. And again, like I showed you before, if you can use your baby wipe if you get anything on that you don't like. But that's one of the reasons why, like I said, make sure your paint is dry. If your paint is wet before we do this highlighting, like if all my black letters were still wet and I had a mistake, I wouldn't be able to use my baby wipe to wash it off. All right, so you see how even though we had the palm go through that, we can still see it because of the way we highlighted. All right. All right, so that's looking pretty good. I think we can add, I can show you guys how to add a little bit of highlighting to your trees, because now that we got that on there, I think I do want to add some highlighting to the trees. And then maybe after the white dries, I might just add a hint of blue to the lettering just to make it pop a little bit more. I can, if I put the blue on top of the white lettering, it'll make it stand out really nice. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit of white to the palm trees and the side. Again, you want to stick to one side of it. So I kind of want it to look like the sun is kind of coming in from this way. So we'll do most of the highlights on the outside. We're not going to do a lot. We're just going to do a little bit. Kind of the same kind of motions as when we drew the palms. All right. Not a lot. Okay. We just want to get a basic outline so it looks like there's some light coming in. It's gonna, again, it's gonna make it pop a little. Okay. All right, and you don't even have to get too detailed. I'll probably be a little bit more detailed on this big one than I am on the little one, because it's more in the forefront than the back is, or than the little one is. Because if you look at it, the little one looks like it's sitting further back. So you definitely want to keep your perspective whenever you're painting, so you know which one's in front and which one's in back. All right, so we'll just do a little bit of highlight on the edge. Very little. We don't need a lot. And again, this isn't supposed to be super realistic. It's just supposed to be fun and give you the impression of nice warm weather. If you are watching this on Facebook, if you stumbled upon it somehow and you're not already, if you haven't already liked or followed my Facebook page, feel free to hit the like button and keep an eye out for live videos. I'm going to try to do a couple a week. I definitely have to be more consistent on this, guys. So hold me accountable. If I don't do a live, send me a message. Say it's time to do a live, Kayleigh. All right. So we're just going to do just a little bit less on this side. because most of it's going to come in from that side. All right, my little palm tree is dry now, so again, I'm just going to do very little. Most of it is going to be on this side. All right, and let's see. All right, it's looking good. We're almost there. You could, if you wanted to, you could even add a little bit of highlight to the water, literally by just putting some thin lines. I gotta make sure my paint's not dry. You don't want your paint to be dry if you're gonna put lines in water. All right, so just gonna put very few lines. All right, and you want to kind of keep them going kind of in the same direction for this anyways, just to give the illusion that the sun is shining off of it. Okay, and then last but not least, we will put some blue in our letters. I think I have a little bit of blue left in this container. Okay. Alright, so again, we're gonna, my white is pretty much all dry, so I'm just gonna follow the lines of that. It doesn't have to be perfect, just we're giving it some accent and some color. So I've got some more surfboards because I had some custom, so I'll probably be doing some more with you guys. So if there's any ideas that you might have for other ones, or if you would like one for your place, I can put whatever you want on it. Like I was thinking, I know one of the ideas I had written down before was Home Sweet Paradise. I love that idea because, like I said, I want to live somewhere warm someday. Right, and I really like the way that this blue is making this look. It's just, I'm not covering up the white completely. I'm not covering up the black completely. Just giving it enough to make it look like it's all flowing together and kind of shiny together. And that white, because, you know, black is such a dark color. So if I was to try to put the blue right on top of the black, it's not going to flow together right. It's going to be kind of a muted blue. This is the same color blue. I'm using the same color blue as I did for the water. But the blue would not look as bright and bold if I had just put it straight on the black. It would have looked like a dark washed out blue. So by doing this, it made it, by putting the white down first, it makes the blue pop a little bit more on the black. So just little tricks that you learn whenever you're painting. So if you're going to add bright colors to a dark canvas or whatever, you want to make sure that you lay down some white wherever you want your bright colors to be. Like I'll probably paint some flowers with you guys next week on a dark canvas just so I can show you. Possibly. Not sure what I'm doing yet. Got so many ideas that go through my head. Sometimes I don't know which one to do. All right, we are getting really close to being done with this. All right, so if you are watching on YouTube, again, feel free to subscribe. I would love to grow my viewership because the more viewers I have, the more I can see what you guys are wanting to paint, and the more I can help you guys learn how to paint or just enjoy, because sometimes I literally I'll just watch people paint just to get ideas or learn techniques. Okay, we're almost done. My daughter's I can hear her using tape in the other room. I always dread when she uses tape. She uses the whole roll. She's very creative. She's probably more creative than I am. Someday. She'll probably have her own channel. Probably won't be YouTube then, though. Be some newfangled thing. Alright, guys. It looks great. Alright, so if you guys ever have any ideas of what you want to paint, feel free to share it. If you want to learn something, feel free to share it. I recently did some portraits, some pet portraits in colored pencil. And I have some cool techniques I'd love to show you guys with that sometime. But anyways, so this is done. And so if you're interested in anything like this, feel free to send me a message and, you know, let me know what you're looking for. I do sell these. I sell a lot of different things, so I can get creative. You can get creative. If there's anything you want, definitely let me know. Don't be afraid to reach out. And we are all set for today. So thank you guys so much for coming on. Don't forget to like and follow and subscribe. And I will see you guys later. Bye.